And now, a math lesson. Let's say the Zaxby's chicken finger plate comes with 4, 5, or 6 hand-breaded fingers and 1 side of Zax sauce. Plus, you can try them with Zax sauce, honey mustard, hot honey mustard, tongue torch, teriyaki, wimpy, nuclear, barbecue ranch, sweet and spicy, insane. How many possible combinations does that make? Carry the 2 with a remainder... a lot. Zaxby's chicken finger plate. The sauceabilities are endless.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
wake up, wake up. Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, proudly presented by Zaxby's. Indescribably good. Check out all those great locations here in the Tallahassee area, as well as Thomasville, Georgia, Douglas, Georgia, and hey, the Panhandle. We didn't forget about you, Marianna, Florida, also part of the Zaxby fam. Warchant 30, that is the promo code for 30 free days of access to the ultimate Seminole sports source, warchant.com. You folks on YouTube, keep on doing you. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. There's literally like 4,000 of you, and only 200 of you can hit the. Oh, come on. What? Come on. Everybody get a little bit. Come on. Do better. Do better. You just got yourselves, according to Spearhead 04 on the Tribal Council, you might have an instant Heisman contender already on your roster now. So get excited, everybody. Corey Clark, how are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. How are you doing? You doing all right? You hanging in there?
Yeah. I got to crank your audio up a little bit there. You sound a little bit lower than usual. Maybe I need to turn myself down. Maybe I'm too loud. That's maybe the problem.
You're always too loud. You know that.
Oh, come on, be nice. Be nice, man. A bit of a programming note before we jump into the show today. We've been preempted, Corey, on Tuesday. Live show will actually be Michael Langston previewing the upcoming early signing period, which goes down Wednesday, which we know now will involve 25-ish kids, right?
Right.
25-ish
Yep.
or 25?
It sounds like it's straight up 25. That's what they're looking at. Yeah.
Okay. I tried to figure that out. All right, so to Spearhead 04's thread on the Tribal Council, Corey Clark, does Florida State instantly have a Heisman contender and ESPN Game Day Week 1 in 2021, or am I getting ahead of myself?
Huh.
And
Look,
he's got a laughing emoji too, so he's being.
yeah, you're definitely getting. Obviously, you're getting ahead of yourself with the Heisman talk. I'm sure that was tongue in cheek, but yeah, man, I don't necessarily know that Game Day would be here, but again, it will be Notre Dame unless Florida State can get out of it. It will be Notre Dame, and it will be possibly Mackenzie Milton making his return to college football. So it is a huge story. So yeah, maybe College Game Day isn't in Tallahassee, but Tom Rinaldi comes the week of, brings his piano or his violin, whatever instrument he uses these days, and does one of those tear-jerking feel-good stories about Mackenzie Milton.
Climbing back to the top of the mountain, Tallahassee.
That's right.
We spoke to all the coordinators and head coach Mike Norvell on Monday. Due to NCAA rules about recruits, transfers fall in the same bucket. You're not allowed to publicly comment anytime before officially getting the paperwork and announcing that the player is part of your program. So when we spoke to Coach Norvell on Monday, it was not official. But later on in the evening, they made it official. So when we speak to Norvell later on Tuesday, we shall probably get some good insight into how everything came about and how excited he is for this kid to be part of his program. And it's pretty cool, man. It's really happening. I don't know, like the whole graphic with him, Hawaii, the shoreline. It's real, Corey. It's happening.
I talked to Ira because he texted us on Monday about that we should have taken out the part of the show where I didn't know he was from Hawaii. Hey, look, you know what? I'm secure in my football knowledge. There are some things that slip through the cracks. It's just going to happen. But what percentage of college football fans know Mackenzie Milton is from Hawaii, would you say? My guess was 60 to 70%, and I think that's a high-end guess.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, because I feel like it was a really big part of the whole legend, the whole myth of him.
Was
building
it?
up at UCF? Yeah, because he's Hawaiian. I don't think he went to the same school as Tua, but he looked at the Marcus Mariota, so that's why he went to UCF, because Scott Frost was there, and Scott Frost was the OC at Oregon when they had Mariota. So like he looked up to Mariota, Island Boy, all that kind of stuff. It was part of the fable, the legend of him. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I didn't and part of it, too, is also the name. It's not Mackenzie Mugalovoa.
Whoa,
it's Mackenzie
come on,
Milton.
that's racist. Corey, you're gonna make me edit stuff. Come on.
That's
man.
not racist.
I'm
saying so. Like,
Tua. Remember when
Tua, it was celebrated. Marcus Mariota, you knew it was celebrated.
Yeah.
I thought Mackenzie Milton was from Lee County, Florida. I didn't know he was from Hawaii. It just didn't seem. I didn't know. And you were wearing your Hawaiian shirt. You kept saying mahalo. And I'm like, well, I guess Aslan's just feeling festive. I don't know if you watched like an Adam Sandler movie or something that's based in Hawaii. I didn't know what the deal was, and then it all came crashing to reality when you told me he was from Hawaii, because I didn't know. I never saw him in a lay.
Yeah, that video I played for us.
No, I know that. I know that now. Beforehand. The last 2 or 3 years, or even 2017, I wasn't paying a ton of attention to UCF, I'll be honest with you. But when I did, I just didn't know that Mackenzie Milton was from Hawaii and ended up all the way in Orlando.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. And again, he went to Orlando, and 16 was his freshman year. They were coming off literally a winless season. They were horrible.
Yeah.
And he found faith in Scott Frost, went to Orlando. It all worked out. Part of me was like quietly, I didn't think he was coming to Tallahassee at all. I'm like, that'd be super cool if he actually goes to Nebraska and helps Scott Frost get the Cornhuskers turned around. That'd be a really cool kind of heartwarming, uplifting story. But hey, this might even be better.
Yeah, well, for our purposes, it's much better.
Yeah. So
good choice, Mackenzie.
Yeah. So we will speak to Norvell on Tuesday and get a little more insight into that. Again, he apparently he does plan on being fully cleared for physical contact. Somebody commented on YouTube, hey, he was running scout, but he hasn't been getting hit. It's like, well, whatever, man. Where do you fall on it right now? We're gonna talk about this probably 10 million times between now and that game against Notre Dame.
You think so?
Yeah, but just I don't know. I was probably a little bit too bullish the other day, but I still think. Listen, I know he hasn't played in 2 years because of just how severe that injury was. And I was the guy that was like, hey, man, I'm not counting on Helton or Nasruldeen or Lars Woodby this season just because they came off those knee injuries they had in 19. So I wasn't expecting them to do big things in 20. So how am I standing here now being, oh, yeah, he's going to be all good? I just think it's a little bit different when you're a quarterback. Like your explosiveness, the cutting ability. It was an important part of his game. It was an important part of the UCF offense. They were successful because of his ability to properly execute and read, defenses when it came to RPO stuff and read option stuff. Again, I think, man, what he's been through. I just think there's a different sort of warrior spirit that kind of pumps through you when you're having to deal with that. And so that's why I just feel
a rainbow warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Hawaii. It's from Hawaii. That's right. That used to be their nickname.
I got it.
Okay, good. I just want to throw that out there. Now that I know he's from Hawaii, I'm kind of trying to I'm trying to come up with puns for somebody from Hawaii and Mackenzie Milton. It's not coming to me yet, though, guys. It's not as easy as Seagull. Seagull, sometimes I don't know where it comes from. It's just a gift. I don't ask why. But sometimes these great ideas just come into my head. And then, not to change the subject real quick, but LaDamian Webb has obviously completely ruined that idea.
Yeah, way to go.
And is
Thanks,
no longer a part of Florida State football.
Enjoy Troy, buddy.
So LaDamian Webb, though, but don't you think it's easier to take as a Florida State fan that he transferred to Troy and not like
it doesn't
name
matter.
anywhere else? Alabama?
Anybody would have rationalized it. It's not a Florida State thing.
But quite obviously, he wasn't leaving. He wasn't leaving because of playing time.
Well, that's what people are trying to say. Oh, he realized he was going to be third string. Corbin's a clear number one, and he saw Toafili, what he could do.
Well, man, who's saying that? Nobody's saying that knows what they're talking about.
Okay, yes, thank you. Stop liking that guy's posts on Warchant, everybody. Knock it off. Stop encouraging him.
So nobody's saying that knows anything. LaDamian Webb was the clear-cut feature back when he was healthy. There was no doubt about it. Now, Corbin has looked better. Corbin is a different dude now than he was in September. But still, LaDamian Webb was the guy. So it's not like he's leaving for more playing time.
Yeah.
Because he was the feature back as a first-year player. And it's not like he's leaving for greener pastures, quote-unquote. He's leaving for Troy. So I would think people would be like, okay, he just wants to be closer to home. And I can 100% understand that. Maybe it's not the right decision. It probably isn't for his football future, but he wants to be closer to home. He wants to be back in Alabama. Okay, but I guess it wasn't like an indictment of Mike Norvell. Like if he would have left Florida State and gone to Auburn, that is an indictment. That's okay. I want to go and win. I want to go to a place where I can win more. He's going to Troy.
Yeah.
So Troy's best year is on par with Florida State's worst year. As far as notoriety, impact, anything. Nobody cares about Troy football. So him going to Troy is just like, okay, that's a kid that just wants to be close to home. Norvell didn't do anything wrong. I think is the takeaway there. It was just a kid that wanted to get back closer to home.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's why I don't feel the need to be like, he saw the writing on the wall, he got out of Dodge. It's like, no, man, the guy just wanted to go back home. I think he might even have a child himself, and I think somebody made a pretty good analogy or maybe metaphor. I always get the two words confused. Over on the tribal council, and was pretty much saying like some of these kids are in positions of like think about like a soldier, like you've been deployed. And, like, you can't go home. You can't see your family. Because that's just, and especially at Florida State, because that's how strict they've been about protocols.
Yeah.
Like, not letting you go home on a bye week. And, listen, that's a decision that this program made to try to stay as healthy as they possibly could. There was, supposedly some friction on having to practice during a bye week, yada, yada. But I think that's actually kind of a good metaphor because, even with COVID and everything going on when these guys committed – and reported to campus, I still think probably in the back of their mind they thought, okay, I'll be able to go home for a little bit and maybe it won't be as bad. But it's just the reality of the situation. Like you cannot be close to your family, and for some people that's a really big deal. For others, and it's not. And that's just the way it is. Like when I go home for Christmas, I see my family a little bit and I see my friends a lot. For some people, they go home and see their family a lot, their friends a little. Just it depends on how.
You wonder. Yeah, you just wonder.
By the way, be nice to people in Troy, Pike County. We got a strong following up there, Corey.
Okay, sure. No, I'm not bad-mouthing the city of Troy. It is a city, right?
Well, even the Trojans, people double dip. People like Troy and the Noles.
Yeah, sure. But obviously, if you consider yourself a big-time football player and you have the choice between – has Florida State ever lost a recruiting battle to Troy? I don't think so. So, obviously, Florida State is higher up on the food chain.
DeMarcus Ware. I can't believe Mickey let him walk.
How about – did you know where DeMarcus Ware was from? Do you know what city he's from?
No.
Auburn.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine being like the coach at Auburn back then, whoever that was, and like because they cycled through him pretty quickly, and like this guy's an All-American at Troy from Auburn, and you're like, wait, what? We let him get out of, but apparently he was like 180 pounds or 200 pounds when he was coming out of high school. But anyway, I do wonder with this transfer portal, you hear all these stories about these guys that were just really miserable their first years because it's college.
Yeah.
Like we all know, the people listening to this that aren't athletes, a lot of you guys were miserable your first year at college until you find your niche, you find your group of friends. Hopefully if you do, and then you love it. But the first year can always be an adjustment. And now I fear that the transfer portal, and I'm not saying this is the case with LaDamian Webb necessarily, but the transfer portal, as easy as it is to transfer now with a one-time transfer, that kids are just going to be like, okay, this isn't working out for me 3 months into my career. I want to go somewhere else instead of sticking it out. Because think of all the players at every school that it didn't start out great for them, and then they end up being like All-Americans at the school of their choice because they waited it out. And I don't know if that's really in the cards anymore. Certainly nearly as much as it used to be. Because LaDamian, you heard stories about Dalvin Cook being unhappy his freshman year. And who knows what would have happened if Mario Pinder didn't get hurt. Would Dalvin been looking to move after his freshman year? If Mario Pinder doesn't get hurt and he only gotten like 100, I don't even know, 70 carries that year.
He saw the writing. He would have seen the writing on the wall. He was going to be
I'm going to be behind Mario Pinder and whoever else they're bringing in. So you wonder like it makes it so easy now to move that you wonder if he's really doing a good thing for his. And this is LaDamian Webb specifically. If this is I know it's the move he wants to do right now. In the short term, it probably makes the most sense. You wish him well. You hope he has a great career. But is this really the best thing for LaDamian Webb? Is to leave Florida State, to go to Troy, to go back home? Is that really the best move for him? Or would he have been like an All-ACC candidate next year or the year after? And a potential NFL player? Which still, they'll find you if you're good enough. But, I don't know. Just seems like you have more notoriety playing football at Florida State than you do Troy. So, but again, it's his decision. You wish him well, and you move on. You got Toafili. You still got one of the Seagulls.
By the way, well done. Way to respond for not knowing Mackenzie Milton is from Hawaii by knowing DeMarcus Ware's hometown and his physical composition when he was in high school, Corey. Well done. Well done.
Hey, I know some things, man. I just apparently Mackenzie Milton just snuck through the cracks. I literally thought he was from Polk County or Lee County or somewhere in the Panhandle or somewhere in the state of Florida.
Or no, White Rector was backing him up.
I mean, who knew that kid was from Hawaii? That's just it's just nuts. I mean, apparently a lot of people did, but I did not, and I apologize, folks.
It's okay.
You were horrified. You were horrified when I did
not.
You were like, we got to stop the show. We got to take that out.
I didn't. Did I say that?
Of course you said that.
I mean, yeah. Well, I was saying it in jest. Like Ira was like, "You forever stained the good name of Corey Clark by not doing that, Aslan." It's like it's okay. Like it makes you human.
Makes me human. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Can't
know
everything.
To err is to be human, or whatever. Also, transfer portal news-wise, Cyrus Fagan, Daytona Beach product, had been here since, I don't know, he's been here a long while.
Yeah.
Apparently he's found a new home at NC State. So good for him as well. Couple cool names, though, in the portal, man. But there's I mean, golly, Monday. Oh, here, it's just dropped 2 here. Looks like Corey Durden's also going to Raleigh. So he is committed to Wolfpack Nation, #WPN. So
Corey Durden's going to NC State?
Yeah, look at Dave Dorn. Dave Dorn come to Tallahassee.
I mean, I guess I don't know why.
He loves them Jimbo guys. He loves them Jimbo guys, Hawkman and Fagan and Durden.
Like what? Explain that one to me, Aslan. Try to explain being Corey Durden leaving Florida State for NC State. Was he just bounced from the team? I know he wasn't bounced from the team. I saw him walking into the facility Saturday before the game. So explain it to me.
Before the Duke game?
Yeah, I thought I did. Really? Why would you leave Florida State if you're like Cyrus Fagan wasn't playing? He was low on the depth chart. He had never really made much of an impact at Florida State. It's fine. He was playing for a different position coach than he was recruited by. Corey Durden was playing for the same guy that recruited him, the same guy that coached him when he was good. Why would he leave to go to NC State?
Maybe he thought he could find greener pasture and then, kind of panicked and this is the best thing out there. Maybe he thought, Alabama or Clemson or Ohio State or one of those programs might be knocking on his door, and then you're kind of humbled. His tweet says, "Heard times never fumbled us, only humbled us." So.
Well, hey, again, I guess wish him well. Not a guess, wish him well. Hopefully he plays well, has an NFL career. It's just that to me is unless he was kind of like elbowed out the door, like, man, we don't know if we really want you back.
Mutual. I think it was mutual.
Probably.
He seemed like a big Jimbo guy. When he tweeted his farewell, it was like, "Thanks so much, Jimbo Fish, for taking a chance on a kid." I think he's got
3 years ago, though. He still stuck it out through the Willie years.
Well, I mean, I think he found a little bit of redeeming stuff. I just don't think he bought into what this program.
Yeah. Hey, and that was what I was going to say. So Webb, I think, is different just because Webb was a straight-up football player. That I'm not going to sit here and say that's not a loss because it is. But again, I think it would look worse. I think Florida State fans could at least be encouraged that he left for like Troy. Like obviously he's a better player than Troy. He could go to other places. He really wanted to get back home or close to home. He had another reason for leaving other than football.
Yeah,
quite obviously. I don't know if that's the case with Corey Durden, but again, these are people that didn't want to be here. So as much as it might hurt the program, you hurt in the short term. You lose a talented player like Corey Durden. Okay, but if he's the Corey Durden that we got this year, then you're not really losing much anyway. Plus, you don't know what that impact is in the locker room with somebody that's, and I'm not saying I know this for sure, but somebody that maybe isn't 100% happy and makes that be known. If you don't need that around your program anymore. So if he wants to go play for the Wolfpack and win 7 or 8 games or whatever they always do, that's fine. He quite obviously didn't want to be here. So a Corey Durden that doesn't want to be on your team probably isn't a Corey Durden you want, if that makes sense. So maybe he'll be a good player at NC State, but the guy that was here, quite obviously not 100%, quite obviously not the guy that we had seen, not playing like we had seen him play. If that's what the Corey Durden was going to be next year, then I don't know that you wanted him anyway. Plus, he didn't want to be here. So, okay, well then go somewhere else.
That was 3 minutes too much to talk about Corey Durden, I feel.
No, I don't think so, man. He was a good player. Like
he was, but I don't know why. Do we have to everything has to be rationalized and explained away? What if he doesn't like Mike Norvell? Like, what if? I mean, I think part of me.
But he's going to like Dave Doran. Like,
that's fair. That's totally fair. Because my whole thing is, part of us has to maybe kind of accept that Mike Norvell is cut from a different vintage than other football coaches.
Sure.
And I don't know how his voice, like literally and figuratively, resonates with some kids that have grown up in environments that aren't, Irvine, Texas, and other kind of stops that he's been at and stuff. So I think there's part of that. But yeah, to your point, which is you made before I even was able to spit it out. Dave Dorn isn't exactly like, he's not Jimbo. He's not Ed Orgeron. He's not like an alpha that just walks into a room and like everyone like feels the energy shift. That's like Saban, for as hard butt as he is. Like, there's always that video of him like line dancing in some family's living room during a recruiting stop. Like, you have to have. I mean, you've got to be able to swing it to really be a high-end high-end recruiter to bring in kids, because there's not one simple kind of kid out there that you win a program, that you win games within your program. You have to be able to walk into a suburban house and an urban house and a rural house and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be curious to see if Norvell can kind of translate everywhere. It always reminds me of when Urban Meyer got hired at UF. There was somebody prominently associated with Florida State sports that used some coded language about we'll see if the urban athlete is going to want to listen and pay attention to Urban Meyer, because Meyer had come in and instituted the whole thing where if you're hurt, you have to like carry sandbags up and down the stands, and like it's not a picnic. If you were playing at Florida and you were hurt under Urban Meyer, like, he made your life kind of miserable. And like, we'll see if that if the athlete in Florida is going to enjoy that kind of ridiculous sort of nonsense. And then we saw how that all worked out.
It turns out they were okay with it.
Yeah, you win football games. It's crazy. How much people kind of accept things around them. Also, personnel-wise, we don't have too much insight. We should maybe we'll have Ira on the show later this week. But it looks like the ACC. The ACC does have a new commissioner. So John Swafford. I don't know when is Swaff's done at the end of this academic year, I assume. So like summer.
I would assume May. I haven't read up on his contract, but I assume it's May that he's done. Hey, it might be the new year. Who knows? But it's definitely May. It would have to be by May.
Yeah. James J. Phillips. He's going the Leonard. Okay. He's going the Leonard Hamilton route. James Leonard Hamilton. James J. Phillips, most recently the athletic director at Northwestern in Evanston, Illinois, Big Ten program, who apparently was the front runner to be the Big Ten commissioner until they had about an 11th hour change of heart and went with their current commissioner, Kevin, something that escapes me right now. Sorry about that. By the way, Dylan Gabriel is the name of the UCF quarterback.
You did it, man. I felt like you knew that.
Well, I'm telling you.
Is he from Hawaii too?
Whoever wants, he is. He actually, I think he backed up Milton at that high school.
Are you making that up?
I am not making it up.
No, yes, you are.
I don't think so. No,
they have a pipeline to Hawaii.
Scott Frost, man, listen, he made Marcus Mariota who he was. Like, that changes the way everybody thinks. I mean, that name carries weight now. He's like,
all right, okay. Well, you can't get any of them to Nebraska.
No, you can't. I mean, you can't do what's going on there? Is that going to work out? He went to, come on, internet. Yeah, Mililani. I can't even say it. Mililani. I'm going to say Mililani. Okay. Yeah, he went to the same high school as him.
Oh,
3-star.
Well, how about that? Okay,
yeah,
all right.
So that's why I think they got along so well. That's why the transfer of power in Orlando was so peaceful. Maybe we can take some notes in D.C. about that, everybody. But yeah, so new commissioner for the ACC, Jim Phillips. Again, a pretty decorated path to not Tallahassee, to Greensboro, wherever this conference is located at these days. So everything that Ira's been able to piece together is pretty glowing about his sort of.
There's no way to know, obviously, somebody that's never been a commissioner, if they're going to be a good commissioner, and how would we decipher that anyway as to sports journalists. But the things that people say about him, the people that would know if he's going to be good, or they think whose opinion should matter, not ours, because why would it? But their opinion, nobody apparently speaks ill of the guy, and they all think it was a home run.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign.
Yeah. He was at Tennessee for a little bit and was part of their major gifts department to pull that stuff in. So that's good. Fundraising. External affairs at Notre Dame, and then he went to NIU for a little bit before landing in Northwestern. Was actually even a coach, basketball team manager, student assistant at University of Illinois, and then became an assistant basketball coach at Arizona State University.
Look at him. He's run the gamut.
He's a doctor, too. He's got his Ph.D. in education administration from Tennessee.
Well, we don't call them doctors, right? Isn't that what that Wall Street Journal guy said? Is drop the doctor if you're not a real medical doctor or whatever,
kiddo.
Whatever that nonsense was.
Yeah, kiddo, stop it. So that's pretty cool. Who knows how long we'll be in this conference, but welcome, Jim. Welcome. See you hopefully at kickoff in person. Will ACC kickoff be in person next year, Corey?
Yep.
Coracle, will it?
Absolutely, man. So I saw Fauci on Monday, said that he thinks the people that don't have underlying conditions, just the people that aren't at an immediate risk, we should be getting them by late March or April. The vaccines is what he thinks.
Okay.
So yeah, man, I think we're all vaccinated and ready to go by May. We might even be able to go to Omaha.
Oh, don't tease me, man.
Just saying.
That's what I want to be. That's what I want to be the welcome back. Just like a 90-degree, sunny, sweltering day in Omaha.
Go to the zoo.
Meet out there, meeting the boys, wearing them white on whites, just sparkling like on a 1:07 p.m. first pitch.
Yeah.
Carl Ravitch in the booth, KP, Eduardo Perez. Oh man, I'm telling you, man. For a kid with immigrant parents, man, I love Omaha, Nebraska so much. It's ridiculous.
Hey, buddy, I hope you get to go back. I hope you get to go back.
Meet, man, and meet we trust, man. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I feel good about it. All right. Also, transfer portal-wise, it's crazy. Chase Bryce apparently no longer likes David Cutcliffe. He's leaving, too, so.
Man, that guy can't make up his mind, can he? No. Goes to Clemson and leaves Clemson to go to Duke. And I mean, I understand why he left Clemson if he wanted to play, but I mean, Duke, he was the starter. And I mean, have we seen anything from Chase Bryce that's like, yeah, man, Duke's really weighing you down. You need to go to a place where you can shine.
Right.
Like I feel like you've hit your head's on hitting the ceiling, buddy. You're not that good. Just live it up. Cutcliffe's a good quarterback coach. Stay with him.
Get your degree maybe from Duke. That might be a good idea.
Yeah, that helps too. But yeah, and then we talked to Norvell, we talked to Dillingham and Fuller and Papuchis on Monday. Not a lot of news. He would not comment. He thinks Jordan Young might be available for Saturday. Would not comment on Warren Thompson, which is like I just can't with that guy. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know what the deal is, but he wouldn't. The head coach wouldn't comment on him. He didn't play. It's been what it is this year. It's like when is his name going to pop up in the portal? Right? Like none of us would be surprised at this point, right?
No,
I'm not saying I want him to, but nobody would be surprised at that at this point. Like the guy just you don't know from day to day whether he's even on the team anymore. But
he's shown an ability to give people slack, but he's also shown an ability to get rid of you if he doesn't want you around.
Yeah, that's what I'm
saying. It was a two-part question, so maybe in his defense, he was focused on the Jordan Young part of it, that he forgot about the Warren part of it, but he kind of knows what he's doing, Mike Norvell.
Yeah, probably not. But yeah, so there wasn't a lot of news there. I think we'll find out more about like Emmett Rice and maybe Ontario Wilson today or tomorrow when we talk to him. Or I don't know if we talk.
Fabian Lovett was pretty encouraging, I thought.
That he's it's even a possibility, right?
Yeah, that was scary.
So that's good. And then I don't think there was anything incredibly newsworthy, but I did think it was interesting when Dillingham was talking about the positions and talking about how Darius Washington's played 3 of the 5 positions on the offensive line. Schrader, he says, has played every position, and they don't have a lot of numbers. So they got it. They in practice even like they have 9 available bodies on the offensive line. Usually they want to have 15, 16. So when you have 9, a lot of these guys have got to do double duty in different positions, and the same thing with the running backs and receivers. I don't know. Darian Williamson didn't play. Corey Wren doesn't play. So going into that game on Saturday, Brian Robinson doesn't play. So going into that game on Saturday, there's a chance the only two wide receivers who are listed as such on the roster that will play are Keyshawn Helton and Kentron Portier. That's it. So, you got to make things work, and that's why, Toa Feely lines up in the slot, Ja'Kai Douglas lines up in the slot. But they think it's all, moving forward, it's all good. It's good experience for those guys, and it makes them more versatile. But then especially when he was talking about on the offensive line, like when you learn the other guy's position next to you, that makes you a better football player if you know what he's supposed to be doing. So maybe it's a good, it's not ideal, but maybe it turns out to be a good thing in a year or two, because there is a chance in like 2022 when these guys are juniors, this could be a pretty darn good offensive line if they're healthy. I mean, I think we like Robert Scott. I think Darius Washington has shown something, and he had that injury, so he couldn't really work out in the offseason. He'll get stronger and bigger. They really like Schrader. Maurice Smith, I think we like, right?
I really like Devontae Love-Taylor, and he should be back hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I was just talking about in a couple years.
Okay.
But yeah, next year that'll help. But in a couple years, when these guys are juniors, or I guess they'd still be sophomores, right? Because they get that year back. But when they're in third year in the program, they have a chance to be a pretty good offensive line.
Yeah, hopefully.
Leading Jordan Travis to a Heisman run.
There we go. People think I hate Jordan Travis.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, you and Cameron both. It's like, hey, how about my man Dillingham saying, yeah, he threw it as well as he has. He played the position as well as he has. Except for the interception. He said on the interception it was a sprint out. He said he didn't notice that it was cover 2 because somebody flashed in front of him when he was running to the right. But he said other than that, every throw, it wasn't just that he threw it to the right person. He threw it on the money to the right person. So Dillingham, and you never know how much of it. I'm not saying Dillingham is lying, right. But he also knows what the news of the day was on Sunday. So if he comes out on Monday, it's like, well, yeah, Jordan kind of sucked, to be honest. Like, that's not going to fly. But also he didn't. Jordan was good enough. He wouldn't say he was great if he wasn't. But I think there was a reason he was lauding him so much. He played well, sure, but he also wanted to make sure Jordan knew that he was going to pump him up to the media and to the fans, because he really wants Jordan Travis to still be a part of this team.
71.9, his offensive grade, 4th highest from the game. Pokey, number 1, with his 13 snaps. David Stickle, who's one of the walk-on tight ends, had 5. So Robert Scott. So really Jordan Travis is your second highest rated offensive player when you really think about it. Robert Scott first, 72.8. So, yeah, man. Let me ask you, I know you're the coracle, so you can see into the future most times.
Mm-hmm.
If things were the way, if this transfer portal was around in 2010, if one-time exceptions were around in 2010, do you think Jimbo would have gone after somebody that had started 30-some-odd games to come in and back up Christian Ponder?
No.
But did Ponder have a reputation going into 10 as a senior of not? Yeah, right? Like he missed games.
He had missed, I think he played all of the 08 season, right? I think so. He had played all of the 08 season. The 09 season, what did he do in that Clemson game? He separated his shoulder. So I just think the difference between what we've seen with Ponder, and Ponder would get hurt. My man had bursa sacks that would just inflame like they were lit by a match or something. It was crazy, my man, with his bursa sacks.
Seriously.
His nickname became Bursa. But
Bursa.
But with him, like that year in 09 when EJ had to start the last 3 games or so, he had separated his shoulder. It wasn't with Jordan. It's just been more of the week to week. It's something else.
Nicks and knacks.
It's a hand. It's a
concussion.
Maybe a concussion. It's a shoulder. It's something. It's different things. But no, I don't think, because look, man, Jimbo was a huge fan of Ponder. I will say this: Jimbo believed in Ponder probably a good bit more than Dillingham and Norvell believe in Travis. And I'm not saying that they don't think Travis can be a really good quarterback. I'm just saying I heard Jimbo talk about Ponder off the record, and he would say, look, I've never had a guy that sees it like he does. Now, this was in 09. I think it was after the Georgia Tech game, the one they lost, but, Ponder was awesome. Georgia, what was it, 35-28? Like, there was a touchdown on every drive.
Yeah.
So, he's like, look, I've never had a guy that's seen it like this. I've never had a guy run this offense at this high level. So he knew Ponder was awesome, especially in that offense. So no, I don't know that you would have given Jimbo the choice of anybody in the country that he would have believed in them as much as he believed in Christian Ponder back then. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to diminish how they feel about Jordan Travis, but I do not think going into the 10 season that he would have taken somebody over Ponder, and I don't think going into 11 or going into 12 he takes anybody over EJ either. I think the one thing about Jimbo, man, usually he believes in his guys, and when he doesn't, well, that's when you get Everett Golson transferring in.
He played in 9 games, it looks like, in 2009.
Yeah. So he got the Clemson game was the 9th game, so he didn't play Wake. He didn't play Maryland, which they kept the bowl streak alive, and then the Florida game, I mean, it didn't matter. They could have had 3 quarterbacks. Right. It wasn't going to matter what they did in that game. It didn't matter who played quarterback that game.
49-44 game against Georgia Tech.
Yes.
Yeah, man, that BYU game, 21-26, 2 tutties, 77 on the ground, tutty. Good time.
Yeah, man, he was in the North Carolina game.
I like that.
They got down big in the North Carolina game, and then he came back and threw for like 400 yards and
395. Close.
And he wasn't,
82.5% completion percentage.
Yeah, he had the 98-yarder to Rod Owens.
Yep.
But he's throwing to Rod Owens and Richard Goodman and Fortson. He wasn't throwing to incredible receivers.
Rodney Smith. Yeah, man.
Ponder was a good college quarterback, man.
He was, man. He was. So, I mean, you talking about Jimbo believing in Christian versus these guys believing in Jordan. Is it things that they haven't said, or is it more of what Jimbo has said?
No,
I meant
Mackenzie
more Milton being brought in because people are like, I'm underselling Jordan Travis, which I kind of am. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's not personal. Like I don't dislike the kid as a human being. I don't know, man. I need to find a better way to articulate stuff because I talk for a living on this show. But I don't know, man. Just watching enough football, like watching him play, it's crazy. It's great to watch him. And I don't know how much of it is just me resenting that kind of style of play. That's part of why I like Jimbo so much, was that we weren't going to be the Mickey Mouse offense stuff. We weren't going to go tempo. We weren't going to do no huddle nonsense. We were going to play honorable. We were going to play the noble way, the way it was meant to be played.
Sure.
So like now when I have actually my quarterback does that now, I'm kind of like, all right, but I'll take it because we need every win we can get. But I just like watching it. I just don't think it's a sustainable kind of. For what they have right now, it's an amazing sort of stopgap with what he's been able to do. But I just think if they want to get this thing aligned on the proper course on this mountain they're climbing, I think he can only take you so far. But then again, it's like they're so far away from being a 14-0 football team, a national championship team. Yeah, Jordan Travis is more than enough to get you on the right path to getting there. I just think Mackenzie Milton, he seems a little bit more intriguing if things are in place. And I don't know, I trust this staff to a certain degree because some of the guys they have gone after have seemed to work out pretty well for them thus far. There's a certain bit of intuition or just them the assertiveness of them going after a guy like Mackenzie Milton. Like to even think you have the ability to pull a guy like that to your program where it stands right now, and then not only have the sort of confidence, maybe the irrational confidence to pursue him, but to also, secure his services. I just think that whatever they sold him was like a message of like they believe that he can be a guy that puts them, we're moving up steps on ladders and staircases, man. I don't want to go one step at a time. I want to jump a couple, man. I don't want to do a 4-year thing, man. I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it.
You want him to be the De'Aaron King.
Yeah, man.
But I think when it comes to that comparison, the difference to me is that Jordan Travis is much better than who was the Miami who were those Miami quarterbacks last year?
Ja'Cory Harris.
No, that was 11 years ago.
Darren Williams. Not
Darren Williams. Who was it? Nikosi Perry.
Nikosi Perry. I was thinking.
Yeah. Jordan Travis is better than Nikosi Perry. He's better than that other kid, even though he played well against Florida State last year.
Jaron Williams.
Jaron Williams, maybe. Yeah. I should remember him because he's a Gwinnett County kid like myself. But Jordan Travis is better than that guy.
Oh, yeah.
So, and when you look at his, I think it's also the way it looks, right? Like you look at Jordan Travis's numbers, he had 282 yards. What if he'd have thrown for 282 against Duke? He totaled 282 yards and 3 touchdowns. What if that was all through the air? What if at the Notre Dame game, he threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns? The difference is he throws for 200 and runs for 100. Or against UNC, he throws for 191 and runs for 107. Against Duke, 192, runs for 90. Against Pitt, he throws for 106, he runs for 80. And that included sacks. If you take away the sacks, he ran for like 120 yards against Pitt and a half. So he totaled, what is that? He totaled 240 yards and a half against Pitt. So it's different. It's not a guy that's slinging it all over right now, that's slinging all over and doing what McKenzie Milton could do with his arm. But that doesn't mean it's not effective.
Oh,
and
yeah,
when you say it's not sustainable, to me, man, I mean, and I know this when it comes out. And I'm mainly only making the comparison because it's where he started. But I don't think Petrino was saying in 2015, I don't think this Lamar Jackson thing's sustainable. Like, you can't win like this. You can't win. They're going to make an adjustment for how good a runner he is, and he's going to have to beat them with his arm.
Yeah.
Well, man, some people, it doesn't matter. Jordan Travis isn't Lamar Jackson because Jordan Travis isn't that electric. Lamar Jackson is a different world. He might be the most electric quarterback that's ever lived as far as pure athleticism. But Jordan Travis is just a notch below. And he's electric enough as an athlete that I don't know that you can just game plan and say, hey, linebacker in the hole, make a play. It's like, well, no. It's the same thing with Cam Akers. You could scout it out perfectly. Sometimes Cam Akers is just better than that guy. And he's hard to tackle one-on-one, just like Jordan Travis. So I think that's what, to me, and it's not just you, it's other people, when they dismiss what, and I'm not saying you're dismissing it, but when they discount it a little bit, what Jordan Travis has done, man, look at that. What would this offense have been without him?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean? They would have scored 7 touchdowns in the entire season.
They would be winless.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they lose to Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do. If Rodemaker's slinging it, I think they're losing to Jacksonville State. So Jordan Travis is good enough. He's proven that he can be good enough. And I just think he is a guy that, man, keep him on your team. Do what you have to do to keep him engaged. Let him, and I think he will get a real shot at winning this job. And if he beats out McKenzie Milton, man, you're having all ACC caliber quarterback on your hands. I don't know how else to say it. He was going to have an awesome offseason and a great preseason. And if he can beat out McKenzie Milton, then, you know, I think that tells you everything. But either way, I think you really like how you're set up for the future as long as Jordan Travis, because this isn't normal, I guess. You know, if he'd have played a whole year, he'd have run for 1,100 yards at quarterback. And it's not at Navy. This isn't Oklahoma in the 80s. I mean, this zone read is a part of the offense, but it's not the only part. But he's so dynamic with the ball in his hands and his legs that I just think I don't want to take for granted that first touchdown of the second half. You know what I mean? Him pulling it, and then all of a sudden he is just a blur downfield, and that safety has no chance. Like, is that really coached up that well, or is that just a dude that makes people look silly? It makes it look easier than it actually is. And he's done that a lot this year, that's all. But yes, McKenzie Milton, I watched, you know what I did last night, Aslan, is I watched the whole every play of that championship game between Norvell and Milton back in 17.
Oh.
And holy moly, does Milton put some throws. I mean, come on now. That's what I was talking about yesterday during the show. There are guys that just
feel it. They see it.
You just feel it. It's like there's some guys that like a jump shooter, man. Like a Brady Clark, for instance.
Yeah.
But like a jump shooter, like there are going to be times where you're challenged and you have to get it up even higher. You have to release it higher, or you have to release it around a guy, or you have to release it quicker. But you were just blessed to have that kind of touch. And some of those throws he makes, folks, go watch that championship game. By the way, that Memphis offense wasn't anything to sneeze at either. Good grief. But I didn't realize they had Tony Pollard and
Darrell Henderson.
They had both of them on that team. Wow, good work, Norvell. I guess that was Fuente, right? They brought those guys on, but still, he used them. But Milton makes some throws that are just absolute dimes. Now he throws it. He can throw it from a weird arm slot. Like he'll throw it sidearm. He doesn't have the perfect L when he's throwing it. It's not an unbelievable motion, but he gets it to where it has to go, and he puts it over linebackers. He drops it into a bucket. He makes throws in the middle of the field. He's got moxie. He makes people miss. Again, that's something we have to see if it's still there. But we assume it is after 2.5 years. You hope it's at least close. But if he still has somewhat of that athleticism, and you have to imagine he's still got the touch and the feel of being a quarterback, yeah, he's a guy that he's a thrower that you haven't had since Jameis.
You're right. Yeah, man.
So, and that's from a guy, again, I'm as big a Jordan Travis fan as there is. And I wonder if part of that is just because I'm essentially in love with his brother. I've never liked an athlete more than I like Devin. And, man, if Jordan just had Devin's, like, personality, he'd be my all-time favorite Florida State athlete probably. But if you watch those Jordan Travis interviews, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's very just robotic, Russell Wilson-esque. And I talked to Devin about it, actually, when I was doing a story on Jordan. He's like, look, man, that's how he is with me too. I don't want you to think that's just a media thing. Like, no, he talks to us like that too. That's just his personality. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Jordan Travis as a football player and as a potential quarterback. But Mackenzie Milton, when you go watch those throws, because they're not all running wide open, man, he has some special sauce to him, man. He can really throw the ball and wing it. And he's got that gunslinger mentality where he doesn't mind if he's thrown an interception or two. And he threw a few. He doesn't mind that. He's going to keep making those throws, and he's going to keep pushing the ball downfield.
I just had like the sum of all fears of like Hugh Freeze gets hired at Tennessee and pulls away Jordan Travis. Although that's probably not like a good – I do wonder – I just find it kind of curious that –
oh, now you're all worried about Jordan Travis. Oh, I see. I convinced you.
I'm not saying get rid of the kid. There's something for me of watching football for so long. Like he just does not fit there's just certain throws that decisions he makes throwing the ball, certain things that he does against these teams. I'm like, I just don't think it's going to translate against Clemson. But again, like where Florida State's at, you've been mentioning this, like try to finish second in the Atlantic. You're not winning the national championship right now, Florida State. You're not winning the ACC. Be better than NC State. Be better than Louisville. If you have a full, healthy season of Jordan Travis, you probably are better than those teams. But I kind of want to aspire a little bit higher. But I do wonder because I think Milton fits more of what Mike Norvell and Kenny Dillingham are used to. Now you can kind of make that as like a knock that like, hey, they need a system guy. They need a guy that they're used to feel comfortable running the offense they want to run. But hey, man, that's kind of the way it works. There has to be some team out there that likes like the run first kind of quarterback. Although Jordan doesn't bail out of the pocket early. I think Jordan hangs in the pocket a pretty good amount. There has to be somebody out there that looks at him and is thinking, like, yeah, man, we could probably – he's better than what we have right now. And, I mean, like, if Gus Malzahn's almost still at Auburn, like, I mean, he's better than Nick Marshall. He throws the ball probably. Throws the ball better.
No, he does. I think he does throw the ball better than Nick Marshall. Yeah. Similar type athlete, though, right? I think that's a good comparison. I think he's a better thrower of the football than Nick Marshall was. But Nick Marshall was a dynamic athlete. He made that thing go with his legs. Travis could have a similar effect on, but he could have that here. And also, I wonder
not as a number two guy, and this whole thing of putting him in the slot at receiver. Man, he wants to play quarterback. He's shown you he can play quarterback.
No, you misunderstood. I wasn't saying you could have that as a wide receiver or anything but a quarterback.
But, people have been mentioning that, like, find a way to get him the ball.
No, I think if he doesn't win the quarterback battle, I think you have to find a way to get him on the field, even if he's not the starting quarterback. You just have to. You have to have packages. You have to have him on the field. But the thing about Jordan Travis is I certainly hope, and I don't know why this wouldn't be the case, he would be like, yeah, man, sure, whatever. I'm the better quarterback. I'm going to win the job. Like, wouldn't it be nice in this day and age to have a kid on a team that wasn't threatened by something like this, but was like, okay, man, sure, but I do things that you can't do, and I'm better than you, and I'm going to win the job. Like, not to be scared of competition. And so I don't know that I just think Jordan Travis, and I could be 100% wrong, and this could be an all-time freezing cold take, and he could be in the portal as soon as I say this. I think he's the kind of guy that maybe doesn't welcome it, but he certainly understands it, and I think he grew up a Florida State fan, so he wants to be here. He's proven he can play at this level, and I think he wants to go win the job here at Florida State. Because no, he hasn't proven enough at Florida State to go anywhere and be guaranteed the job, right? Like, remember Jacob Coker was going to go lead Alabama? He almost beat out Jameis Winston. He's going to go be the starting quarterback at Alabama next year. No, he was second string his first year. Meanwhile, he could have been starting at Florida State. But he was second string at Alabama. Then I guess it worked out all right because he won a national championship as a starting quarterback. But still, that's neither here nor there. He could have done it at Florida State too.
Keep going.
He could have done it at Florida State. They would have beaten Louisville if they had Coker. So I think Jordan Travis isn't a guy that's guaranteed of a starting spot when he if he transferred. And you look around the country, a lot of these guys, look, it took JT Daniels at Georgia like 8 weeks to win the job. Some guys don't ever win the job. Like Hornibrook, he didn't win the job. He got a couple games in, but he didn't win the job. So I think Jordan Travis, I certainly hope anyway, that he will stay at Florida State. He believes in this. He believes in these guys. He appreciates the fact that they gave him an opportunity. Now, look, you could say they didn't have a choice because what else were they going to do? Put Corey Wren at quarterback? But they did. That he did get to start. They've talked glowingly about him. They do like him. He is improving, and he wants to go win the job here. Let's just hope that's the case, because no matter what happens, the guy that ends up winning the job is going to be better because of it.
You think Blackman lands at an FBS school?
No. I just don't. What would be the point? What would be the point of him going to an FBS school? Because, again, he's got to go win the job. He is not a guy that's like, oh, we got our guy. Like, what school? What FBS school?
I'm sorry not to go back to it, but what was Georgia thinking with DeJuan Mathis? And
I really don't. I think JT Daniels wasn't cleared for some reason, and because it's a Sabanite and Kirby, he never came out with a real answer. So it just looks when you watch Georgia now compared to when you watched them against like Alabama,
man,
it's befuddling. It's like, what were y'all doing? Yeah. And if he could come out and just explain, well, this is why he hadn't been cleared, or he had only been practicing for a week, and whatever it is. But it's like you watch JT Daniels, it's like, Kirby, are you just stupid? Like, what did you see out of this first kid, or Mathis and Bennett? Bennett was better than Mathis, but, it's all relative, that you would think, okay, JT Daniels isn't the right guy for our offense. He's completely changed the offense. But, he couldn't play until week 7.
I need to go back and look, like, over the last 5 years and see how many quarterbacks have transferred from Power 5 to Power 5 program and how many have started. Like, the only ones I can think that didn't start right away was the kid that went to Miami from Ohio State. The really short kid. His name escapes me right now.
Tate Martell.
There you go. Thank you, Corey.
Yeah, there you go. Got it. He's from Hawaii too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. He's from the Big Island?
Little Island.
Oh, he's from Little Island. All right.
Otherwise, and Hornibrook did not, but like Malik Zaire did at Florida. Everett Golson did here.
Did he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Malik Zaire started week 1 for them.
So, but think of those names though, like Malik Zaire, Everett Golson, Hornibrook.
Joe Burrow started week 1.
Well, yeah, he turned out okay. Tate Martell. I'm just talking about in-state with the Tate Martells, the Malik Zaires, Everett Golson, Hornibrook. I'm sure Florida's had another one. Treyon Harris, right? Or he didn't transfer. I guess he decommitted. He flipped. Big loss for Jimbo there.
Luke Del Rio. Luke Del Rio was at Alabama and I think Colorado State and then transferred.
Do they ever how many work out?
I'm not saying work out, but how many? They usually start though.
No, they start some. They'll start and then they'll be like, oh, well, he's not that good. Let's go with the guy we had originally. I don't think McKenzie Milton fits that bill at all. Again, this is a guy that's different. There aren't usually guys that have thrown for 10,000 yards or total 10,000 yards and 90 touchdowns in their career that transfer.
To back up. It's like Everett Golson didn't lead a team to a national championship game and come here to back up Sean McGuire. I don't think
correct.
McKenzie Milton's
no, he's definitely not coming here to back up. And I'm not expecting him to be the backup, although it's possible because again, he's not Jordan Travis isn't Smag. This is a real competition. No. He does some things that that McKenzie Milton couldn't dream of doing. So this is a real competition. But when you look at a lot of these guys, I'm more to the point like I was thinking about James Blackman, or if Jordan Travis is looking to move. It's like the history of these transfers. That's what I would be selling if I'm Norvell and Dillingham. It's like, sure, man, go ahead. I don't want to keep you, but look at these guys. They're going to a new school. You have to learn a brand new offense. You have to jive with a brand new team, a brand new coaching staff, and look how many times it works out. For every Joe Burrow, there's 10 Everett Golsons or Hornibrooks or Tate Martells. Martell Tate. What did we say his name was?
Tate Martell.
Yeah, who ended up being a receiver and then back to a quarterback and wherever he is now, or a Chase Bryce. Like even Chase Bryce started, but it was obviously not a fun experience for him. Bailey Hawkman wouldn't be playing at all if the starter hadn't gotten hurt, and he transferred. So it just it rarely works out for transfer quarterbacks. There are examples for sure.
Justin Fields,
but well, come on, man. Now that's different. He'd have worked out if he'd have transferred to the Eagles. Like that's different. But the guys that did not win the job. You know what I mean? Justin Fields didn't leave. Well, I guess he did Kirby, I'm getting all upset again. Jake, I almost cussed. Jake Fromm, huh, Kirby? That's the hill you wanted to die on, Jake Fromm. You don't want Justin Fields a part of your program. Keep Jake Fromm. But I would hope Jordan Travis would see that his path to being an all-conference caliber quarterback in playing a lot in his future, maybe not in 2021, but in 2022 and 2023, would be at Florida State instead of taking a chance at another school with another offense with another coaching staff that you have to get to know. That's all.
But what if they believe in you, though, man? Because part of them has to realize, like, they're bringing Mackenzie Milton because, I mean, they got 3 scholarship quarterbacks right now. They're bringing in another guy. And if there's a coach out there, these guys know what to say. They know how to make kids feel all warm and fuzzy and want to make moves. I do wonder. But, again, you talked about yesterday on the show the risk. The risk of losing like a Chubba Purdy by bringing in, Mackenzie Milton. Obviously, Mike Norvell and Kane Dillingham feel the risk is worth it because they went ahead and got him. Yeah. So it's just, again, like I just hope people don't think that I think that Jordan Travis is not like a viable option. Like, you can win football games with Jordan Travis. Again, it's the whole sort of disconnect with me of not, needing to realize that Florida State is not anywhere close to a 12-win New Year's Six Bowl sort of team right now. So why are you trying to be at that position where you need like this really refined, polished passer? It's like, dude, just have a playmaker. You need playmakers anywhere you can have them.
But right, don't you think now? I think now they have at least 2, and I almost want to throw Chubb in that category with the way he played in the second half against NC State.
Easy.
You
see what you just said?
It was one half. But no, I wasn't talking about who you compared him to. But I'm saying you do have playmakers. Mackenzie Milton is a playmaker. Jordan Travis, in limited time because of injuries, he has proven to be a playmaker. I think these aren't guys that are just game managers. These aren't guys that these are guys that can go and make plays, make winning plays, make explosive plays. For the first time in a while, the quarterback room at Florida State is going to have 2, at least 3, genuine, legitimate playmakers. Yeah, hey, you'll take it, right? The defense is still an abject horror show. You know what I mean? We don't. Who's the kicker? Don't know. There's a lot of question marks around this program still. I don't know why I had to throw Grotehouse and Fitzgerald under the bus, but he missed that easy kick on Saturday, and you're just like, okay, are they recruiting another kicker? Are they just going to ride with these 2? But the defense is still very troubling moving forward. No matter who comes back, and there's potential for a few guys to come back, it's still going to be bad. But on offense, finally, in that quarterback room, you have guys with experience of making winning, game-changing, explosive football plays in that locker room. You didn't have that with Blackman. You didn't have that with Hornibrook. You maybe have it with Chubba.
So is this like the best quarterback room since like EJ and Ponder?
No, I'd say
Trickett and Jameis. I mean,
it's just it's so different, right? Like, I don't know that Jordan Travis can be an NFL quarterback. I don't think Mackenzie Milton's an NFL quarterback. But so it's hard to judge. Like, what do we gauge it on?
Just you have like 2 legitimate guys. If one goes down, your next guy up, you're like,
absolutely.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, and you might have 3, depending on what they do. If you, I think for sure. Like, you look back at whenever that was it 13? They had Winston, they had Coker, they had
Trickett.
They had Trickett, they had John Franklin, maybe somebody else. I wanted to feel like somebody else was in there too, another name, but Smag was in there. So, but I think if Chubba stays and Jordan stays and Mackenzie Milton's here, I think you have you just have 3 guys that have pretty unique skill sets, and you feel good with any of them. Not great, maybe not Jameis great, but you feel good with any of them, and especially the first 2 with Jordan and Mackenzie Milton. You have guys that I think if you're healthy around them and you have players around them, I think with both those guys you expect to score 35 to 40 points a game. I mean, Dillingham certainly didn't have a problem pointing out how many points they average when Jordan's their quarterback, and that's I think he said 34. I don't know if that's true, but look, if you say the Pitt game, he had 17 at half. He's proven that he can score points. And if he has players around him, especially out wide, if you can get some difference makers out wide, the offensive line gets better. I think with either one of these guys, you think you could score 35 or 40 points a game. That's good news.
Freaking Indiana. Indiana had a 4-star receiver in their 2020 signing class that's already thrown his name into the portal. Indiana.
Wow. He's scared about DJ Matthews.
Ooh.
DJ Matthews coming in and taking those reps. Think about that, man. So they started the year, Tamari and Terry, didn't they move? They moved Bolden, the wide receiver, too, right?
Yeah.
DJ Matthews, Warren Thompson. I mean, that's half the receiving crew is done. Corey Wren hasn't been available. Keyshawn Helton has been not great. Pokey's been hurt a little bit. It's remarkable. Who's been the only? I mean, I guess you'd say Keyshawn's the one that's been healthy the whole season.
Yeah.
It's been remarkable the attrition they've had at wide receiver, and they were not good there to begin with, and then they lost the guys with Terry and Matthews. Warren Thompson hasn't. He made one catch, hasn't done anything. The guys you were counting on, it's been as bad a season for Florida State wide receivers as there's ever been, and I'm talking about maybe since '74 or '73 or something. It's just been a horror show at wide receiver, but they're going to get better there. I think they like some of those guys that they have that are young, but again, I'm telling you, with me, whether he starts or not, and again, I would say the odds are I would give McKenzie Milton a 78% chance of earning the starting position next year, but the name McKenzie Milton attached to your program is going to make it more appealing to these wide receivers in the portal. I saw a guy from, I can't even remember, he was an FBS school. They had like 2,000 yards receiving in 2 years, and he put up like 120 against Auburn or something in the game. God, I wish I could remember where he's. Sam Houston State, maybe.
Okay, I'm looking at it. I'm trying to find it.
But he was in the portal. And I'm like, I bet if he's looking for a place to go, McKenzie Milton, not that you're, falling all over everybody to get a Sam Houston State wide receiver, but the biggest names in the portal, you actually, I think, have a chance with some of them. Because now you have McKenzie Milton attached to your program. Because they've heard that name. They all know he's from Hawaii, of course. And then, throwing lays, throwing touchdowns like they throw lays. But none of it's making. None of it's. I shouldn't work it out on air. I shouldn't work it out. I don't need to workshop on air. That's not great.
Josh Stearns, Houston Baptist, 2020 wide receiver.
There you go.
No, he only had 13 for 403.
No, that's not it. No, it's the guy that had like 1,900 or something in his career with like 20 or something touchdowns.
Maybe the kid from Dartmouth, Drew Estrada.
No.
Oh, yeah, Houston Baptist, 220 receptions for 1,971 yards and 18 touchdowns in 27 games. Led FCS in 2019 with 105 receptions. Jareth Stearns, Houston Baptist.
There he is. So
he's
maybe
5'8", 180 though.
Well, look, hey, they all come in shapes and sizes, Aslan. How big was that Thayer Evans kid or whatever his name was from NC State? Florida State can't cover him at all. They didn't even know he was on the team.
You're right. There's a lot of Miami. There's a lot of Miami, Florida kids that are in the portal right now. From like Louisville, there's a kid from Duke. Who's got 13 TFLs, 3 picks during his time. He went to Atlantic High down in Delray Beach. I mean, there's some dudes starting to kind of every day that goes by, it seems like there's better players dropping into the portal.
Yeah.
So I do wonder.
I also think, man, it's gonna change how we judge these recruiting rankings.
That was a shower thought I had, Corey. I wonder, I wanted to almost ask Gene, like, hey, can you email somebody at Rivals? Because they're gonna have to start, changing the way they grade class, because they haven't historically put transfers into your signing class and then use that to adjust what your rating is.
Because De'Aaron King should have counted as a 5-star for Miami.
Yeah.
McKenzie Milton, I don't know if he'd be a 5-star just because of the injury history, but if he didn't have the injury history, he would be.
Oh, yeah.
That's a 5-star signing. You only get him for a year, so maybe you knock off a star. I don't know how this stuff works. But yeah, man, I think you have to change the way you judge these classes, because Florida State's going to have 7 or 8 guys probably that transfer in, that whether they have a bunch of 3-star high school recruits, they could have 4 or 5-star contributors at 6 or 7 different positions. Maybe. Well, I mean, we'll see, but I don't know how you classify McKenzie Milton in a recruiting class, but he's a big-time commitment. And he made it official, by the way, on Monday. He did sign his scholarship papers. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, though, again, man, as we leave, we're at the hour 5 mark. Probably went too long.
We did it again. Golly.
They're going to only sign 25. And, man, they've lost a significant amount to transfers, and I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a handful of guys, maybe like a Kane Doe maybe leaves, J-Rob maybe leaves, Emmett maybe leaves. or at least Hamsa. Like out of those 4 guys, 2 of them are probably leaving. But again, it's not the end of the world.
You want to tell the people the stat that I texted you last night, or should I tell them?
I don't know the raw number, so does that take away from the actual?
Okay, I'll do it. Well, it doesn't, but yeah. So Hamsa Nasruddin has 13 tackles this year in basically 1.5 games. That's the same number that Josh Kando has on the entire season. Hamsa Nasruddin and Josh Kando are tied in tackles in 2020. So, Josh, good luck, man. You know what? I guess he could leave, but he certainly shouldn't be leaving to declare himself for the NFL draft. So you have to like your chances of him coming back, or at least playing college football again. Jeez Louise. I mean, 13 tackles in 8 games. I know he's not a linebacker or a free safety, but man, Tank Carradine played the same position and had 91 tackles in a season. And he wasn't a first-round pick. He was good. It was
Cornelius, wasn't it? Like if your name is
Cornelius Tank. Cornelius is a great name. Well, look, man, if you get the nickname Tank, you're living right. Yeah. You're living right. You're not turning that down. Yeah. If it was Corny Carradine, he's like, screw you guys, call me Cornelius. But when you get the nickname Tank, you're like, all right, I'll take that.
Yeah. So when you see somebody say, next time a guy says he's leaving Florida State, and everyone's like, whatever, just opens up another spot. No, they only got 25 spots, man. So. But again, it's not a big deal. I mean, you obviously want to take advantage of every scholarship you have, but they probably, I assume, are going to go into 2021 probably like somewhere in the low 80s, maybe high 70s.
Yeah, high 70s, low 80s, yeah.
I mean, I was looking at Alabama. I was looking at some team. I mean, Alabama, I think, played 59 players against Arkansas, so they emptied up the bench because they were up big. Even when you have like a fully, healthy team, you're not playing anywhere near all 85 scholarship guys, and not nearly all 85 are going to contribute, so it's not the worst thing. And maybe they get more numbers to sign for 2021. We'll see how it goes. Anywho, live show coming up Tuesday. Maybe it's 6 p.m., but I think right now it's tentatively scheduled for 5 p.m. with Michael Langston giving you the breakdown on early sign day as it approaches on Wednesday. Corey, you and I will do a live show, I don't know, probably Thursday, I'm guessing.
I think Thursday would be good. We'd be after there's a basketball game tomorrow night, tonight. They play Georgia Tech. They open up ACC play. 8:30 tip, Aslan. Oh. And then Saturday night, you got obviously you got the Wake Forest game at noon up there in Winston-Salem. And then the basketball team plays Saturday night at 9 p.m. So that's something.
When did we join the WAC? What's with these?
Yeah, it's crazy. We can talk about basketball on Thursday during our live show. And obviously we'll get to recap the signing class.
All right, fantastic. Sounds like a plan. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's Indescribably Good.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.